Could Cody Barton be the surprise breakout player for the Titans? Well, that's what ESPN says, as they released every single team's surprise player, and for the Titans, it included Cody Barton. Welcome to Titans Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Brett Alper, and yes, Cody Barton is the surprise player for the Titans, and it doesn't come to a bit of surprise for the Tennessee Titans, as the linebacker core was absolutely completely awful going into the season. They needed to make a signing during free agency, and Barton was the clear candidate on this roster. If you look at the defense, if you look at the offense, everybody that kind of is good, and everybody that's bad is bad. Who really had the potential to kind of break out? Yeah, it was going to be Barton. And this is why you subscribe. Last week, or it might have been 10 days ago, however many days it was going to be, I made a video. You can see me right there, except I'm clean shaven now. And I talked about Barton and how he was a surprise breakout candidate. And the only kind of high point of this Titans defense on the linebackers, because we look at the linebacker depth chart later in the show, you'll see that it needs a lot of work. Turron Davenport, he works for ESPN, and he said this about Barton. He said Barton showed he could be a much-needed savvy veteran for the Titans inside linebacker group, which has struggled a bit in coverage and found themselves out of position, leading to some long runs by opposing backs. The veteran free agent addition has a vocal presence on the field, and I'll make note that he's going to be your Mike Backer. Like, there is no ifs, ands, buts about it. He's going to be your Mike Backer. He can be heard barking commands before almost every snap, and during OTAs and minicamp, he intercepted number one pick Cam Ward twice. Now, despite being new to the team, Barton has already become a mentor to some of the young inside backers, especially second-year linebacker James Williams, who he offered pointers to when the two weren't on the field together. And I'll just say this, like, he needs to have a good season or the Titans are going to absolutely struggle towards the middle of the field. You lost everybody from the starting lineup of last year's defense. You don't have Kenneth Walker anymore. You do not have, or you lost Kenneth Murray. Thank you, producer Smitty. Kenneth Murray. Kenneth Walker's the running back for Seattle. We were talking about Seahawks before. Kenneth Murray. You lost Jack Gibbons, so you have no more starters on this team. So you go into this year, and here's your depth chart. You have Otis Reese, undrafted free agent. You have Cedric Gray, which was further down the line in the NFL draft. None of these guys have proven themselves to be viable starters in the NFL. So you go out and sign Cody Barton. And you could see his statistics, like solid when he was with Washington, 121 tackles and only 13 games played, like an interception. He can drop back into coverage. When he was with Seattle back in 2022, 136, led the team in tackles, 6 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, 2 sacks, like solid numbers. And then with the Broncos, over 100 tackles. So that's what you're getting out of Cody Barton. Also 5 pass breakups. You're getting a guy that's what the Titans needed for their linebackers is someone that can drop back into coverage, because none of the other guys could really coverage. They could cover the run, but not really. And all of your returning linebackers, like we talked about James Williams, how he's possibly a sneaky guy on the Titans to break out, but we haven't seen much of him. And we haven't seen anything of Otis Reese. We haven't seen anything of Cedric Gray, because they are all linebackers that are 4th round or higher. They haven't proven themselves in the NFL just yet. And I'll say this. I talked about it on my last video talking about the linebackers when PFF, Pro Football Focus, ranked them dead last in the NFL. Not 31st, not 30th. No, they ranked them last, and we could see why. And that's why, for me personally, like, Barton's going to be a pivotal point of this defense in the middle of the field, being your Mike Backer. But I'd still like the Titans to sign another one. Like, Kaiser White is on the free agent block. You can go pick him up right now for probably a cheap contract. He provides veteran leadership, and just get guys that can train people, guys that can teach everybody on the field. You drafted Femi Oladejo, who I know is going to be an edge rusher, but he has experience playing linebacker. So if you wanted to kind of flip-flop him in once or twice, because you have Sebastian Joseph Day on one side and Draymond Jones on the other, maybe you can get Oladejo in that inside linebacker spot where he's played before. So you kind of have something to work with, but you need to improve this linebacker core going into later this season. Would you like the Titans to sign another linebacker? Let me know down in the comments. Yes or no? I think for sure you got to add one, or at least make a trade. You have $30 million in cap space, so you could make this happen. On the back end of the show, we're going to talk about CBS's head coaching ranks, and Brian Callahan did not get a good one. I'll just say that to the least. But first, we got a deal going on for you guys. Titans hoodies, they are now $30. 60% off. If you go to chatsports.com/Titans hoodie, you can get this one, this nice sleek gray one. I know it's hot outside right now, but it's not going to be hot forever. Once we get into October, when you're sitting out at Nissan Stadium, it's going to be cold. So get yours today while supplies last, while the sale is going on. Chatsports.com/Titans hoodie. We'll have that in the comments and description of today's video. Okay, so CBS Sports, they ranked all 32 head coaches. And there's a lot of new head coaches, just like Brian Callahan was a new head coach last year coming over from the Cincinnati Bengals. And they think that he is one of the worst head coaches in the league. But not just one of the worst, the worst. They ranked Brian Callahan 32nd in the NFL. And I don't agree with this at all. Like, I'll give you some of the list. I wasn't going to go out and give you every single head coach because those guys that are in the middle don't really matter. Like your top 5, Andy Reid, Sean McVay, John Harbaugh, Nick Sirianni, Dan Campbell, and then bottom 5, like Aaron Glenn, new head coach, Kellen Moore, new head coach, Brian Dable. He's made it to the playoffs. Don't think he should be really that low. Brian Schottenheimer is where I'm going to really pinpoint this list on what are we doing. And then Brian Callahan, dead last. Like this just was absolutely a terrible list. And it was made by Cody Benjamin. And here's what he had to say. Like, he even said it firsthand. Like, we should not fault Callahan too much for inheriting an overhauled roster. Like, the team was terrible. That's why he had the first pick. But after he was unable to corral quarterback Will Levis's risky tendencies, there's a lot riding on Cam Ward, essentially controlling himself as Tennessee's new face of the franchise. And let's not beat around the bush here. Callahan was not good last year, but can you really blame him with how bad the roster was? Is it his fault that Will Levis was making stupid decisions? Is it his fault that the offensive line was absolutely terrible? Was it his fault that L'Jarius Sneed just didn't show up healthy and wasn't there? Like, there are so many reasons why you cannot blame Brian Callahan, the wide receiving core. Like, is it his fault when they drafted Treylon Burks way beforehand and he was one of the biggest busts in Titans history? Like, that just, I can't blame him for that. And putting unknowns ahead of a first, like, this is his second year. Putting unknowns ahead of him is outrageous. Guys that haven't proven themselves. Like, one in particular with the Dallas Cowboys and Brian Schottenheimer. What has Brian Schottenheimer done in his career to put him over Brian Callahan? There is nothing. I'll show you guys the resumes. Brian Callahan has won a Super Bowl as an assistant. He's been to a Super Bowl with the Cincinnati Bengals. And then Schottenheimer, oh, congratulations. You were the offensive coordinator of the Cowboys for 2 years, and 3 players made an All-Pro during his Seahawks offensive coordinator tenure from 2018 to 2020. And before that, nothing. Absolutely nothing. He's never made a Super Bowl in his entire career. And then we look at Brian Callahan, who was known as a quarterback guru because he was with the Broncos as an offensive assistant during 2013. During 2015, guess who won the Super Bowl in 2015? The Denver Broncos. Guess who had the best offense, one of the best offenses ever in 2013, where Peyton Manning threw for 55 touchdowns. Yeah, as a Bengals offensive coordinator with Joe Burrow, amazing offense, made Super Bowl 56. Yeah, unfortunately they lost to the Rams, but he has proven that he is a good offensive coordinator. So why are you putting just because of one bad year over a guy who hasn't proved anything his entire career? Like, Brian Callahan is not the worst head coach. Like, Kellen Moore, great offensive coordinator. Has he done anything to show that he's a good head coach? Aaron Glenn, same here. You cannot put guys that are first-year head coaches ahead of a guy that's been a coach. Now, I will say, Brian Callahan has one more year. That's it. There is a very short leash on his tenure because Mike Borgonzi came in. He's a brand new general manager coming over from the Kansas City Chiefs. He knows success. He wants to see success. So with Mike Borgonzi, as he didn't hire Brian Callahan, he's like, all right, you got one more year to prove. All right, let's see if you're that quarterback guru that you were in Cincinnati to kind of groom, kind of teach Cam Ward and to become one of those top quarterbacks in the NFL. If the Titans go around 6-7 wins and Cam Ward looks great, he'll keep his job. If it's another 4-win season that we saw or 3-win season that we saw last year, and the Titans are an absolute joke and they aren't competing, Brian Callahan could easily get the boot. But he's got 1 year to prove it. And I think he knows this, and I think he's really going to dig in and kind of get this team together and just show what his offensive mindset is and how good of a coach he truly is if he can take what he took the Bengals offense to bring it to Tennessee. So before we get on out of here, I'll ask you guys, where would you rank Brian Callahan in the NFL? I don't think he's the worst coach in the league. I'm going to put all the coaches that have never been coached before, I'm going to put them behind. So I'd rank Brian Callahan around probably 28th, 29th. If you prove it this year, you're going to jump way up high. So go down in the comments right now. Where would you rank him out of all 32 head coaches? That's going to do it for the latest edition of Titans Today by Chat Sports. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. When training camp starts in 1 week, we got content all week long for you guys. So make sure you hit that sub button and tighten up.